Hi guys, my name is Roman and today I want to share with you my 2 years experience of ownership of this 335i. When I bought it 2 years ago in October, it was the cheapest on the market, so I paid something about like 6k. I was looking for something hardtop with a maximal engine with the most of power, and because I haven't got any money, so my budget was like around six grand, which I was able to take a finance. So after applying all the filters on Autotrader, I was able to find just this car and another one. Unfortunately, another one was older version, pre-LCI or pre-facelift, whatever you want to call it, so with N54 engine. But the biggest problem was because the year was older, I wasn't able to get the finance for it. So I went to check this car when I seen this car, because the previous owner was a middle-aged businessman who was owning this car for a few years, and he was using this only for weekend drives. So even the windshield, which is already there, it was applied before as well, so it was permanently inside, so it means it was completely two-seater in his life as well. And I'm planning to use it as well as a two-seater as well. So I came here, I checked the car, and there was a few damages, but it wasn't something big, considering it was the cheapest car on the market. So engine-wise, we can go here and open engine bay. We're not gonna talk today about any tuning which we have now. We will talk only about the maintenance, which I have to do when I bought the car. So the biggest problem was the coolant leak from this housing, which was quite simple thing to replace it. I just ordered this house from the BMW dealership, and the thing which almost every BMW have this as a problem, the oil housing leaking, where everything was with the oil here, and the rest pretty much was the completely stock without any issues, without any problems. The car was running well, and again, considering it's cheapest car on the market, I started seriously thinking to get finance on this car and just try to gamble with this car. So today I don't want to go deeper about any performance mods which we have here now. We will do another video how we will check the spark plugs, because I never checked spark plugs after I did the mods, and the previous spark plugs change was like maybe definitely before me, so about the 2 years before. So we will keep this for the next video. So yeah, how I told, any damages was just a housing and a coolant house. Everything the rest was alright. So there was any small things like scratches, chips on the body. Taillights, they've been faded inside on the boot lid, pretty much like all of them, because it's especially LCI model. With the pre-LCI, I think it's slightly better. All these taillights, they usually faded. So, and the stoplight was broken as well. So pretty much I think when he opened the roof at some point, because the boot lid is going this way, maybe he catch something, so the stoplight was broken. And the rest was completely alright. So I really started thinking to buy this car. I take it for a ride and there wasn't any issues, and how I already told many times, it was six and a half grand. It was a lot of car for not very big money, and considering the previous owner was a middle-aged man, I'm not gonna call him guy, so I hope he not race this car every weekend. So once I bought this car, I found one slightly bigger issue. So sometimes when I was starting in the morning or after work, I got a rough idle and the car was shutting down by itself. I was a bit wondering what's going on, because I heard about a lot of stories about the previous engine N54 with the injectors and the coils and whatever can be there more. But because it's N55 engine, which is slightly more reliable than N54, I wasn't sure that it's coil packs or it's injectors. And one morning, accidentally, I found out that the problem was with the fuel tank valve, which is located here. This small thing over there, when it starts dying, it's making ticking noise. So especially in the cold time, and when you just start the engine, it's coming and disappearing. But if you catch it at some point, it's better to replace it. It's coming with the hose which is going inside, the breathing hose there. It's very easy job. You can do it by yourself. Even with the stock intake, you just need to take air filter off. You can do it by itself. It's very easy. I don't remember exact price. I will try to put it in description, but it was something around 100 pounds. And the rough idle disappeared. I was pretty much happy because everything started working properly without shutting down, without rough idle. So yeah, I was very happy with it. And I decided to keep this engine as it is. Just change the oil, change all filters, and keep it as much as possible reliable. And obviously the maintenance first before any power. And I'm still thinking like that. So we can go here. There was few things. Well, now I will show you, because it's E93. I will show you the magic of this car, which it's kind of showing off every time when you're coming to the car in the summertime. Oh well, you can do it in the winter time as well if you want. But basically, yeah, you're just showing off how you're opening the roof. About the roof, quickly, once it's open, it's not so dramatically stressful thing like some of people think, and I was thinking as well. So all what you need, apply the grease on the all connections, all movements, mechanism, like few times in a year, and everything will be all right. So just make sure there's enough sealant, enough, basically some kind of oil, which keep all the mechanisms moving properly without squeaking noise or something like that. And how you can see, 2 years and still working. Touch the wood. So interior wise, it's everything was pretty much same like it was now. The only 3 things, which one of them I cannot show you, it was the emergency plastic cup for emergency opening roof, which is on top of the roof. So it was missing. I ordered it from BMW. It was like 20 quid, maybe, nothing really big. OBD connector cup, which is next to bonnet opening handle, it was missing. I planned to order it as well, but accidentally I found it under the seat, so I fixed it for free. And the cup holder, plastic, the trim, it was very scratched. I'm not using them very often, that's why they're not very quick. So this plastic, it was very scratched. So I ordered a new one, but unfortunately, because the BMW using the soft plastic material on top of it, even if you're not touching it at all, it still gets scratched very quickly. So I would say if I would be now 2 years ago with my experience, I wouldn't replace it because it's just wasting of this 20-30 quid. But I prefer to look it nice. The previous owner gave me winter floor mats as well, which are rubber. And again, considering the price of the car, it's very nice. So how you can see here, for 6.5 grand, the cheapest car on the market, we had 355 N55 engine, which is more reliable. Well, yes, it's not so performance nice car engine like N54, but it's much more reliable than N54. It's dual clutch sport transmission, DCT. It's pretty much same like M3 E90 generation with a slightly different soft, but it's much better than the standard automatic gearbox. Exterior is completely stock SE, no any mods, but the performance was applied only to M suspension, which was from the factory, and the robot, the gearbox. So I'm using this car mainly as a 2-seater. That's why the windshield is always applied here. To be honest, on motorway, without it, it's almost impossible to drive it over the 60 miles per hour. It will be quite windy inside. The only one thing about the mods which we will cover today, it's wheels, because originally this car came with a, I think it was 189 style, 18 inches. It's not a bad wheels, but unfortunately with the run flat tires, it was like a plastic. It was so harsh. I think that any sport suspension is much softer than run flat tires. That's why I decided to replace them. Originally I wanted to replace them for something like 18 inches, but I wasn't able to find forged wheels in 18 inches in UK. I think the 513, it's original M forged wheels, 18 inches. They will come and as a winter option on F series M3 and M4, but unfortunately, because in UK we don't have much winter, it's pretty much impossible to find the wheels. And I found out that these wheels, they're much lighter, they're 19 inches, which wasn't the point for me, but still look nice, and they're forged, so nothing really what I could expect more. The only one thing, the offset of this car, of these wheels, because this is original M wheels, and be careful if you're buying same wheels, the 47M style, they were only in 2 colors, the black one and the gray, and only 19 inches. You can see on the market sometimes from time to time there will be different colors or maybe different sizes, but they never been in another size as only 19 inches. I was a bit worried about these wheels because of the offset. Especially the rear wheels, they are very close to the arches, so I was a bit worried that they will scratch. But again, now we're talking about already some mods. It's not related to the general condition of the car, which when I bought it. It's still same brakes, it's still no any vibration, no nothing, it's still working fine. So to put these wheels, there was a previous tire set with a 275/35 profile, which is M series profile. And when I put them here, I realized that on some bumps, it can scrap or just rub in this place where the bumper is connected to the arch. It wasn't like proper rubbing, it was just a slight touching, but I start thinking how I can improve it, because I like these wheels. So I found out that my original shocks been pretty much worn. So I replaced the original shocks for the Bilstein B4 model, which are aftermarket, nothing sport, it's not coils, it's quite cheap decision. But with the old bumps, it's made car, I wouldn't call it higher, but it came back to the factory stiffness. So the car can handle its own weight, and that's why it's not going down. And even if I was catching some bumps, it's become significantly less. So it was literally like less than second on some big bumps of waves. But I still was wondering, and I was thinking what will be if I will replace them for the lower profile in the future. But I would say even 275 with a 35 profile, if you have good suspension, it don't need to be sport suspension, just healthy, nice suspension, it will work without rubbing. Again, considering it's a two-seater for me, I never drove with many people inside. Front wheels, sorry for this look, unfortunately I scratched the front wheel, it will be replaced soon. They came with a 245 35, which went there completely without any issues. The only one thing, sometimes on the reversing, when you have complete lock, it can slightly touch the fender, and you can see it even here. So, but it's nothing, you can see it's 1.5 years there. So there's no holes, it's not burning the plastic, it's just slightly touching only when you're on full lock in reverse. There is still option to change them for 235 35, and this promo will be gone. But because the tires was pretty much new with this wheel set, I'm still on them, and to be honest, it's not really often when you're doing full lock on the rear gear and even on the front gear. On other side, because there's an oil cooler and the oil cooler plastic, let's go there, I will show. This plastic has some small screws, if it will be visible. So basically same problem, you will touch the small screws on the full lock, but again, they even have a rust, so they're not polished, no nothing. You can see that there's no damage, there's literally just a kind of noise, and that's it. And you can fit 245, 35, 19 with any issue. So the only issue which I found when I replaced these wheels, again, it was just my kind of, not dream, but kind of dream. I wanted forged wheels. I realized that my original shocks are leaking. Again, the shocks were leaking probably when I bought the car, they start to leak, so it was part of the cheap price in the beginning. But again, I replaced all 4 shocks for Bilstein B4 with the all mounts, all bumps, top mounts, dust covers, everything. It didn't took me fortune, but again, the car became slightly higher in the front, but it's not because the shocks made it higher. And again, just the stiffness of new shocks make car possible to handle their own weight. So what we have now, after 2 years, we bought the car for 6.5 grand on the finance. I'm still paying for it. Yes, I don't have money and I like nice cars. I spent about 100 pounds for the fuel tank valve, another 100 pounds or 80 probably for the coolant holes, about 40 quid for the oil housing gaskets. The other, what you can see now here, it's not necessarily, so the housing gaskets was the necessary thing, and it wasn't expensive. And basically the all-round shocks with the mounts, because I like to do it properly, and because for me maintenance is most important than power, I replaced shocks with the all mounts, all bumps, everything, like dust covers, so full set, even the screws, everything was replaced new, bolts, nuts, everything. And that's pretty much that's it. If I would keep the previous wheels, which were 18 inches with a standard offset for this car, I wouldn't need to replace the shocks, and some of the guys would ride just with the leaking shocks long time and don't care. But so yeah, it was broken, I replaced it. If it was necessary, I would say it's personal decision. For me, it was necessary to replace them. And the rest, I would say, considering it's N55 335i BMW, which is a very unreliable car in the world, I would say, again, touch the wood, but even buying the cheapest one, if you're not buying a car which was like street racing every weekend, it's still very reliable, very nice car. There's still a lot of things which we're planning to do with it. We're not going extremely high power and single turbo or whatever people doing with these engines. For me, the most important is the balance, so I will keep everything. I would say OEM plus setup will be perfect for us. So in next video, basically now I decide to make videos every time when I'm doing something. Maybe for someone it will be helpful, maybe for my memories in the future. So the next thing, we will open and take off all the spark plugs and just to check what's going on with them, because how I told, they've been replaced in my service history, but they've been replaced before me, so it's more than 2 years. And now the car have some mods, so I want to see how the spark plugs looks, and because of spark plugs we can see a lot of things what's going on inside. And that will be the second mod. And I'm still thinking about the springs. I'm still thinking about HR or ABAC, wherever you want to call it. But the first we will start with the spark plugs, and after we will see. About the wheels, if you're considering to buy 437M forged wheels, which are lighter, bigger, don't worry about the M offset. Again, I can 100% say only about E93 LCI model, because I heard that pre-LCI model, even E93, they have slightly different gap inside of the rear arches. You need to Google it. Probably they will fit as well, maybe slightly more tight inside. But again, it's still 275. Yes, now it's 275/30, just because my previous 35 been gone. It's still rear wheel drive, 300 horsepower, so they that. And I decided to go for the smaller profile now because I start thinking about the lowering. But in general, nothing wrong with these wheels. Plug and play, you will like it, go for it. Don't worry about the size. Again, if you have E93 LCI model. See you later.